Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Budding Gardeners. It's a beautiful day here at the Garden Club, and we're going to be learning about winter birds today. We're very fortunate to have Marie Chappell with us here today from the Duval Audubon Society. She is a bird expert. She's going to do a presentation and story about birds first, and then we're going to break into groups for activities. Raise your hand if you've got a name tag. Raise them higher. I want to see those hands super high. Good. I see some hands for name tags. Everybody's name tag has a group, either group 1, 2, or 3. That's going to tell you whether you're making a bird feeder over here, doing a scavenger hunt, or doing planting in the back. One more time, raise your hands if you love plants. Okay, raise your hands if you love scavenger hunts. Raise your hand if you love bird feeders. And now everybody give me a big round of applause for Marie Chappell from the Duval Audubon Society.
Hello. Yes, we can hear me. Wow. All right. So today I'm going to talk to you about these awesome things called birds. Are you ready? Let's go. So here's a bird. He's stuffing his face because he loves food. Do y'all love food? Heck yeah. So we're going to talk about gardening for winter birds. And what do I mean? What do I mean by winter birds? Well, some birds don't stay here in the winter all the time. So up in the summer, they're way up north in like Maine or places that are cold. And they hang around and they sing during the summer. Here's one singing. This is called a hermit thrush. He's a very handsome little bird, but he's got a beautiful song. So here he is. He's singing away in the summer. But come winter, it looks like this. Whoops. It's like this, where he lives. And he can't live in that. No, there's no food here. Do you see bugs? I don't see any bugs. So he has to go somewhere else. Do you know where he goes? Where do you think? Where? Here? Yeah, absolutely. So this is a little animation of his travels. See the purple and the yellow up north is where he starts. And then he flies, and he's very small. He flies down, 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 down. And here he is down in Florida. Take that off. Okay. Hello, is that better? Now you can see my face too. So he flies down, 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 down. And he comes to Florida. And he's very cool. He thinks he's very cool in Florida, as you all know, because you're in Florida and you're cool too. Now, there are some birds that just want to hang around all year too, and they think they're always cool. So there's the birds that come from up north, and then there are birds that hang around here all year. This beautiful cardinal you might see at your feeders or in your backyard just all the time. And again, he thinks he's always cool. So in the winter, birds come down and they need things to survive. Like you need things to survive, probably. You can't just stand there all day and be like, I need nothing. So what do you think? What do you think birds need? Food? Yeah. What about you? Warm, sure, absolutely. They need to be not freezing cold. Any more guesses? All right. So they need something to drink. They need, go for it. Warmth, yeah, very good, very good. I don't have warmth on here, but they need somewhere to hide. They need a place to sleep. Here's a little owl. He's all like bundled together in his hole. And they need something to eat. He's swallowing a whole fish. Yeah, that's a black-crowned night heron. So here's an example of a backyard, and I want you to take a look and tell me what in here you think would be good for birds. Go for it. The birdhouse, yeah, I think this is a feeder actually, but it looks like a house, yeah, absolutely. So they eat food from the feeder. What else? I can't hear you, I'm so sorry. Okay. What about you two in the back there? Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Trees, that's a great one. That's a great one. Anyone else? Yeah, absolutely. So they got little plants in the bottom. They got this feeder. Look at this. They got a little bird bath. That's pretty cool. And they got a little fence to perch on. And then they get big trees in the back, which is also really good for them. So when we're thinking about gardening for birds, we want to think about all the different things that they want to have. So they got big trees, like one. They got the medium trees, like in two. And then they got like little shrubs in three. And then four, they got the grass and the stuff. And if they need to hop around on the ground or like kick the leaves or anything like that to see what worms are under the leaves, then they can do that too. So yeah, exactly. And when we're thinking about what plants they like native plants the best. Does anyone know what a native plant is? What does that mean? Go for it. I cannot hear you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So they're from Florida. They're not from across the ocean. They're from this area. Does anyone want to guess why those plants are best? Like plants are plants. Go for it. Sure. So, okay, pollen, absolutely. So yeah, the native bees and things around here, they like the pollen. Absolutely. Anything else? Well, I'll tell you a few things, and there's a lot of things, but basically the birds around here get the energy they need from the kinds of plants that are here, and they're not used to the other kinds of plants. If somebody started feeding you weird foods, you'd be like, why are you feeding me like random roots? I don't know what this is, you know. Also, speaking of roots, the root systems so that go under the earth of these plants, they're special for the kind of dirt that we have here. I bet you didn't know that different places have different dirt. Whoa, sorry. So they got special roots for special dirt. And there are so many reasons, but native plants, plants from here, the best plants. And sometimes if you're trying to think about like, oh man, like I want to provide for this certain kind of bird, you can look at the bird and get some hints about what kinds of plants it likes. So let's do a little spying and see what we can guess. Does anyone know what this is? Go for it. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think he likes to eat? Nectar, that's really great. Sorry, this is peeking. So look at his bill. Well, first of all, he's hovering in the air, so he's probably not eating things on the ground. And then he's got this long bill that, do you know what he does with his long bill? Go for it. Nectar, yeah. Absolutely. You're right on. You're right on. So he got long beak for long flowers and goes, whoop, and he drinks the nectar. What about this bird? This is called a goldfinch. She's really pretty. Anyone want to guess what he eats? No? No guesses? Well, I'll tell you. So he's got a thick bill. And it's like, imagine if you had like a big thick pair of scissors, it would be for cutting really hard things. Does that give you a hint of what he eats? Something that's really hard. He has a strong beak. Go for it. Okay, that's a good guess. Something that's hard. It's not what he eats though. Go for it. Nuts. Okay, you're on the right track. He eats seeds, which are kind of like tiny nuts. So he has a big thick bill for and crunch, crunch, crunch on those seeds. So if you offer him plants with seeds, he's gonna be really happy. He's gonna be dang happy. What about this guy? Look at his tongue. Go in the back there. Go for it. What is it? Woodpecker? Yes. What do you think his long tongue is for? In the front. Worms? Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pine. Okay. Absolutely. So what he does is he uses his big thick bill to go whack, whack, whack. And look at those, look at the wood flying away. He's got these things are big. They are big birds. So he uses his big bill to hammer into trees. So he loves your trees. And then also he uses his tongue to get all the larvae and the worms out of those trees. And I bet you didn't know this, but their tongues actually they wrap around the back of his head. It's so long. When he sticks his tongue super long out, it's coming from behind his skull. So that's pretty cool. Whoop, some beautiful camera work here. There he goes. All right. So let's learn from 5 specific bird friends and take a little journey with them and see what it is they like and what we can offer them. So this is a little baby bird. He's called a cedar waxwing. And does anyone want to name this bird? Let's give him a name. When do you want to come? What? Pecker? All right, let's call him Pecker. So here's little Pecker. He's super small. He just got out of the nest and he doesn't really know what he's doing, but he's hopping around here on the ground. And as he gets older, his mom feeds Pecker all these berries. And she's really into berries, let me tell you. And so he and his siblings are just eating these berries. And actually, if you look at their tail tips, they're bright yellow. That comes from the berries that they eat. So sometimes that's true with birds. The colors that they have, which are really beautiful colors, they come from those foods. And if you offer them the right food, then they'll be beautiful colors too. So he's eating lots of berries. And he gets older and he's like, oh man, yeah, berries are honestly great. Like, do y'all like berries or fruits? Yeah, Pecker agrees with you. They're great. So here he is eating some berries, and he's he coming from maybe New York or something, and he flies down. Here he is in Florida, and he and his buddies are just stuffing their faces with berries. So there's a kind of tree called a Dahoon holly. This is the one that they're on right now, that they love this kind of tree. So if you give them Dahoon hollies, which I also happen to think is a fabulous name, then Pecker and his buddies will be very happy. All right, let's learn about another bird. This little guy is called a kinglet. And they get a tiny little bill. Does anyone want to guess what he might eat with that tiny little bill? Go for it. Stick? Not quite. Something that's on sticks. No, he's up in the trees. Go for it. Wood? Not. It's something that's in the wood or on the wood. Something that goes creepy crawly and crawls on your arms. Bugs, absolutely. So this little guy, he loves bugs. They're so small. They're so small, and they jump around in the branches, and they flick their wings really fast because they're probably trying to scare up the bugs. They want to see the bugs. So here he is. He's coming down. Wait, anyone want to name this bird? You want to name him? Wait, what? Wait, here. Say what you're saying into the microphone.
Well, there's some birds that like house on the photo for this thing, and it's the thing that they like to eat.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so he loves to eat bugs. Anyone want to give him a name? Yeah, in the back. Nikki. That's a great name. So here's Nikki. And Nikki, he's a kinglet, which means that when he gets angry with you, he shows his crown. And he glares at you. So here he is. He's eating bugs. If you make him mad, he's going to go, poof. He's going to show you his little red crown. So here he is in your yard, and he's watching you. And he loves these trees. He loves bushes, big bushes, and little trees. And he's eating all the bugs that you don't like. So he's definitely your friend, even if he gives you a little red crown and gives you angry eyes. Nikki is still a very good bird. So one of the trees he likes is called wax myrtle. So you can see them hopping around in wax myrtles. All right, let's go on to another bird. This is called a yellow-bellied sapsucker. Anyone want to guess why it's called a sapsucker? Go for it. Yep, that's correct. He's got a yellow belly and he's I can't even say that. He sucks sap. There we go. And it also is a good insult if you ever want to say, you yellow-bellied sapsucker. I recommend that. So you want to name this bird? Go for it. Fluffy? Fluffy, the yellow-bellied sapsucker. I love it. So here he is. He's sucking some sap. And this is actually a kind of tree called a birch tree. And these are found up north. These are not found around here. But look at that. He thinks it's really tasty. Have you ever licked a tree? Do you think trees are really tasty? What? You've never licked a tree? Come on. No, trees are not super tasty for us, but he thinks they're very tasty. So, so when he comes down to Florida, here he is on this kind of tree. Does anyone know what kind of tree this is? It's got sap in it, absolutely. Go for it. Pine tree. Yeah, this is a pine tree. Nice. You can tell because it's got these thin needles. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So he likes pine trees. And yet sometimes you can see them and they're kind of camouflage. Does anyone know what camouflage means? What does it mean? Absolutely. So he's hidden. He's the same colors and you can't see him. He's invisible, basically, is what it means. So he can be invisible in these pine trees sometimes, and he's sucking the sap. And if you plant one of these pine trees, he will love your yard. And he likes this kind of tree called a loblolly pine. Has anyone seen this kind of bird? You seen it? Yeah, absolutely. Look at that long bill. So sometimes they are kind of water birds, but sometimes they'll hang out in your lawn too. Do you want to guess what they eat in your lawn? It's an ibis? Yes, absolutely. Great job. Does anyone know what he eats with his giant long bill? Yeah? Yeah, that's one thing. What might he eat in your yard? Go for it. Okay, he likes more like things that have like, you know, meaty textures. So like something more meat-like. He doesn't like plants so much to eat. Go for it. Shrimp? Yeah, I'm sure he would love shrimp. He absolutely loves shrimp. Here, I'll also tell you a few other things. He loves like big like worms that live in your yard. He loves big like larvae, so baby insects, and he loves toads. I have seen these birds. They're walking along the lawn. They stick and they find a toad, and it's kind of beautiful to watch them hold a toad in this really long bill, and they have to like flip their heads up and like gulp it down as much as possible. It's really beautiful. Anyone want to give this bird a name? Go for it. Riley? Whitey. Whitey, that's a great name. I like Whitey. This is a juvenile. He's not so whitey. But here he is on a lawn, which they like to hang out on lawns. And here they are in little mud puddles. So if you put like a little mud puddle in your yard or some little bird bath area, then they love to hang out in those areas. And sometimes they'll even get a big, great egret, which are those white egrets that like stand really still and look at you. They also love those. And this is Florida. Like you can get any kind of water bird in your yard almost. They love mud puddles. Do you love mud puddles? No, doesn't like mud puddles. All right, and this is the last bird I'm going to talk about. Look at this one. This one can show up in your yard too. And this is called a painted bunting. Does anyone want to give this painted bunting a name? Rainbow? Yeah, it's a great name. He's definitely a rainbow. He is really bright. And so look, it's another one of those really thick bills. Do you remember what thick-billed birds like to eat? Go for it. Seeds? Yeah. Yeah. So he likes seeds. He likes, specifically if you have a bird feeder, he likes this kind of seed called white millet. And you can just get these little rainbow birds hang out in your yard. And he also likes to hide in bushes like this azalea bush. And the females are just green. So here she is hiding and she likes grasses. And I kind of wish I hadn't put that text box there because that would make you guess where she is because she is very well hidden. You see her? Yeah, there she is. In case you can't see her, she's right here. She's eating seeds. She wants to eat your seeds. So with that, thank you for listening. And I hope you enjoyed the birds. And there's so many, I mean, like, there's so many more birds that I could talk about. But
And we did save a little bit of time. So if anybody has any questions for
Yes,
Marie about
absolutely.
birds. Okay,
if
we got
somebody has
one little boy has questions. What's your question, Adrian? Just tell me your question. What's your question? Go ahead, say your question.
Rainbow.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions about birds?
Go for it. So they
The question was the painted bunting. She's never seen it around. Is it common?
So if you, they're kind of funny. If you're north of the St. John's River, then they tend to summer there, so you'll see them in the summer more. And they're kind of coastal, so you'll see them like around Fort George Island area. And you kind of have to look for them a little bit, but in the winter they are more common in like south of St. John's River. And then they'll come to feeders especially, and yeah, they're decently common, but kind of like maybe for a few years you won't get any, and then 1 year you'll get like 3. So if you put out the right kind of seed, then you have a better chance of getting them, and obviously the plants help too. Yeah. Any more questions? Oh, the rainbow one is good.
He likes the rainbow bird.
I
is
also
the
like. Here,
question.
I'll put it back
Excellent,
up.
excellent question. Thank you. What
Golden
is
eagle.
her favorite type of bird?
Golden eagle. Although there is a bird called a marvelous. Here. This is important. This is a kind of bird. This is like my second favorite kind of bird. It's found in Peru. And it's a kind of hummingbird that only has 4 tail feathers, 2 of which are very long. And unfortunately, oh, here we go. This is a good picture. So this is my like second favorite kind of bird after golden eagle. Yeah, and he's great. He has 4 tail feathers. He's the only kind of hummingbird with 4 tail feathers, and he can move the long ones independently. So he like flips them in front of himself and goes like this. It's really beautiful. Yeah. Any more questions? Anyone want to tell me about a cool bird they saw once or a bird story?
Well, I want to tell a little bird
Go for
story
it.
that I have. One
Yeah.
time I saw a falcon fly down from the sky and
Ooh.
grab a squirrel off the ground.
Dude, that's super cool. That's super cool. The peregrine falcon, which actually they winter here. You can see these in the winter. This kind of falcon is the fastest flying animal, I think. At least fastest kind of bird. And they are like big, like imagine like a jet, but tiny, and they just go super fast, over 100 miles an hour. They're really fast.
All right, everybody, can we have a big round of applause for Marie Chappell?